Aha, that's me. Okay, we're going. So I'm Dick Norton. I teach in the Urban and Regional Planning Program up in Taubmann College, and I also have an appointment in height. Indulge me for just a second. Let me tell you about myself. I started off studying forest ecology at a small college in Ohio. I was really interested in understanding natural ecosystems, landscapes, and such. But at the end of my college studies, I decided, well, I really want to study these. What I really want to do is save them. Why aren't we doing a better job of protecting the environment? So I headed off to graduate school, another school themselves not to be named, and did graduate work in environmental management and public policy studies. So I'm trained as a public policy analyst. And then I headed off to Washington, D.C., worked for a big consulting firm, ICF Incorporated, anybody heard that? Really well-known environmental policy shop doing work for the US EPA on hazardous waste management. Not the kinds of stuff I was interested in. I want to know why we're dealing with landscapes the way we do. So I talked my way into another consulting firm, C.H. Hill, out in California, which I think just got sold. And so I was a planner working in an engineering world, having to deal with engineers and justify myself to them all the time. And after working there for a while, decided, well, I really like trying to save the environment. I want to study why we're not doing a better job of doing it. So I decided to go back to graduate school. And I had realized through my practice that urban and regional planning is the discipline that has traditionally dealt with the kinds of landscape environmental things I'm most interested in. And I also got very interested in legal questions. So I talked my way into the University of North Carolina in law school and the PhD program. So I have a PhD in a law degree from Carolina, and I studied coastal area management on North Carolina's coastal settings. They're a really interesting place to study because everything comes together at a head on coastal shorelines. People want to build in exactly the most fragile, dangerous, ecologically sensitive places, and they don't want to be told by government, no, you can't build there. At the same time, we're destroying the environment. We're killing the goose that laid the golden egg. How do we do a better job of doing that? So my research brings together, I'm a pretty interdisciplinary guy by inclination and by training, and I try to bring together science and physical dynamics and ecosystem dynamics and law. A lot of my work is the legal aspects of coastal management and then planning policy making. But what I'm really trying to do is be at the intersection and the interaction of all of those things, particularly how our understanding of science and law integrates into policy making and planning, or not, as the case may be. So all of my research work is at that intersection. I have to stop and tell you, by the way, I even dressed appropriately. I have my blue jeans on, that's my environmental management. I have my sweater vest, that's the nerdy planner, and then the trendy lawyer jacket, right? So I'm a multidisciplinary guy. So I ask questions. I have different kinds of questions I ask. The substantive questions I ask really boil down to, should we protect the beach or we should protect the beach house? And especially in the Great Lakes settings, we're more and more being put in a situation of not being able to do both. If you really want to protect the beach house, it's probably going to come at the expense of the beach. If you really want to protect the beach, you're probably going to lose the beach house. How do we deal with that? I have thoughts on that, but at the end of the day, it's local officials who have the planning and zoning authorities in this country to do that. And so now the question is, how do we help them better understand the implications of the decisions they're making? So I can't go out and tell local officials, you have to do this or you have to do that, but I can surely try and help them through better planning methods and processes and training and data, develop better methods to inform those decisions. And then the evaluative questions are what works. Of those different planning methods, of those interventions we're trying to engage in, what seems to have an effect on changing decision-making processes? So the approaches I take to that are standard social science, where I evaluate planning outcomes by document content analyses, surveys, interviews, that kind of stuff, demographic data, putting it all together. What does it tell us? I do legal analysis. What the public trust doctrine is a key legal doctrine at the coast. How does that all come together? And then participatory action research. So I'm engaged in a research program with support. Oh, I'm doing all that in the Great Lakes, by the way. Engaged in a long-term program that's really a participatory action research program with funding from the state of Michigan. We collaborate with, that's my signal that I'm done, but I'm going to go for just one more minute. Collaborate with LEA, the Land Information Access Association, is a nonprofit planning firm, state management officials, and then coastal communities that work with us. We have developed, what's the application? We've developed master plans that do a much better job of addressing coastal issues than what's come before. We've been developing training programs to go out and better educate local officials. We have a website where we've got all these technical methods we've developed up and posted with help from folks like the Water Center, and then a lot of collaboration with the Office of Great Lakes. What are the courses I teach? Environmental planning, coastal area management. I've worked with a lot of you guys. Who do I collaborate with? I know a lot of you folks in here, and I've collaborated one way or another in person, just informally, but sometimes through formal collaborations. And so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to get to know more of you and look for ways that we can better engage more work through this initiative. Sorry I had to move so quickly. There's 5 minutes is not enough time, Paul, to cover all the ground we want to cover. So that's me. Thank you.